Hello, welcome to episode 370 of the award-winning Ferg on the Freak podcast. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. And join me as always is a glorious League Freak you can find on Twitter at LeagueFreak. How you going there, mate?
Going pretty well, Andrew. I saw a video on Netflix. There's actually a movie, they call it these days. And they've got these tags that are below, like the synopsis of it. And one of them on a certain movie said cerebral. And I thought, that sounds like our podcast. It's very cerebral.
Cerebral, yeah, very brain something.
Yeah, brainy, head meaty.
Yeah, I like head meat.
Yeah, head meat's good. It's what we store all of our thoughts and feelings in, is our meat in our head.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very much like the podcast.
Very intellectual way to start the year.
It really is. It really is. Well, 2022, we want to kick off in a big way. And so I thought we should talk about some of my thoughts about NRL clubs coming into this year and, you know, some general almost predictions, looking into the, you know, what do they call it? The fucking crystal ball. I thought that we'd do that for the first episode.
Yeah, I think the crystal ball gets too much of a good run. I'd like the ball for looking into the future to be made of something other than crystal.
What would you make?
Let's be honest, okay? A lot of people look into the crystal ball.
Yeah.
But their visions are not crystal clear.
Yes.
So why make the ball crystal clear if the visions aren't crystal clear? So I'm thinking maybe the ball should be something that's not crystal clear. Maybe a marble ball.
Yeah. Or you could have what if you had a crystal ball, but you pumped something into it that was opaque?
That could work. The opaque crystal ball.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you know.
We've already taken this to a new level, this podcast. It's all downhill from here.
Exactly. Anyway, should we get stuck into it? Because I made you not look at Twitter.
Yeah. Which meant I actually had to do fucking work today.
Yeah.
I usually just sit in a corner somewhere where no one can see me, just sit there scrolling through Twitter for hours.
Just fucking bludging.
Yeah, but now I had to do work. I was like, oh, this is what it's like to actually earn money.
Ugh. Yuck. Okay. So I went through on Twitter and I basically tried to touch base with all 16 NRL clubs with some of my tweets. And I actually started off with the West Tigers.
I was going to say, first up, were they well received? That's a yes. Let's go.
Some of them were better received than others, let's put it that way. So with 2022 just being underway, we're weeks away from the West Tigers starting their player recruitment for the season 2022.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Actually, you know what I saw today from the West Tigers?
They've
announced, or they put out a video of their new Centre of Excellence.
Oh, really? What did it look like?
Well, I'll tell you what it looked like. The whole thing was entirely CGI.
Oh.
So
okay.
I was going to reply and say, but I thought I'd say for the podcast, it's not exactly new if the fucking thing hasn't been built yet.
That's true.
It's still nothing.
Yeah.
Furthermore, they've built it on Concord Oval.
Mm-hmm.
Oval. Have you seen the shape of the ground? It's a fucking rectangle.
Yeah, it's definitely a rectangle. 100%.
Yeah. Stop calling it an oval. There's nothing oval shaped about it at all.
It's like Leichhardt Oval, really.
Well, Leichhardt Oval is a bit of a weird shape. It's kind of square more than anything.
Yeah.
Square with rounded corners.
Square-ish.
But in the first, 45 seconds of this 3-minute long, very long drawn-out video, it showed us that they had reception and doors for players to walk through. And I went, wow, this is excellent.
Well, you've got to be able to receive, don't you?
That's it. There was something else they had as well. Oh, that's all right. People outside.
Really? Just hanging around outside?
Just loitering.
It's when you go there, it's the weirdest place to get to because you can't you can't go there and visit it from the main road. You have to go around the back of it, and it's a lot of little back roads and things like that to get into there. And I don't know why you would visit it unless you were a West Tigers player.
I think they're using the theory that anything excellent needs to be entered from behind.
Yeah, well, I can't comment on that. There's nothing I can say that doesn't lead us to re-recording the start of the podcast.
All right. So I do like your point, though, that it is the start of their recruitment drive. I wonder who they're going to pick up first.
Well, doesn't Blake Ferguson feel like a West Tiger in waiting?
No, because he's already done the dumb shit. Like if he was smart, he would have held off until he signed the contract with the Tigers. Then he does the dumb shit.
Andrew, first of all, it's not his go. Okay. Second of all, who hasn't flown out of Japan and done a little bit of blow, started a fight? I mean, it's kind of what you do. It's tradition, isn't it?
Well,
allegedly, by the way.
Yeah. When the news broke that Blake Ferguson allegedly got caught with something that Michael Gordon sold him, allegedly, all the news media outlets were going on about how he was an ex-NRL player. And I thought, why would you call him an ex-NRL player when he's a current rugby union player?
Yeah.
And, I mentioned that on social media, and quite a few, well, I can't say quite a few, the 3 or 4 rugby union fans that still exist in Australia got a bit cranky about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, they bite faster than the rugby union did when it came to, aligning themselves with the Nazi collaborators to try and delete rugby league, and a few of them didn't like that. I mean, I'm just talking facts.
Yeah, it's just fact. Well, that's all we do, isn't it? We just talk facts, and you were spitting fire at them, and they didn't like it.
I'll be honest, I was poking the bear a little bit just to see what would happen. Mostly because I wanted to see if there was actually a bear there.
Well, and there isn't really in Australia anymore. No, it's hilarious. No. But, rugby union, it's Hitler's game. And
it is.
Hitler was a big fan of it. Hitler enjoyed rugby union, and Hitler felt that rugby union really aligned with all of his ideals. And I think that was proven by history.
Yeah, history's pretty much made that clear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of history, second team. Yeah. The St George Illawarra Dragons need results to go their way, but remain a mathematical chance of making the 2020 NRL Final Series.
I thought that, the other thing they're going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to buy every other shithouse off-cast player they can find.
Yes.
Because they've been doing that hard all off-season.
Oh, haven't they just?
Have they had the worst recruitment season, like, as far as retention and recruitment goes, in the modern day?
Yeah.
It's been atrocious.
It really has. It's like they got older and worse at the same time. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah, how did they go from 2 years ago having probably one of the best, most versatile forward packs to just being whatever that it is now? The other thing that saved their ass a little bit is Corey Norman decided to retire. He wasn't pushed. He just went, I don't even want to be with this side anymore.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm sick of this shit, man.
Yeah, they forced me into it.
So the next one. David Fafita, let me start again. David Fafita vows to repay the Gold Coast Titans' faith in him in 2022. Not the money, though. He's keeping that.
It's the same as the one that they had for the 5 years before him, but just replaced Ash Taylor with David Fafita.
That's exactly what I thought. Okay, the next one. The Bulldogs are excited for the start of the 2022 season. Everyone else's players are expected to shine for them this year.
Bread not bought.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Wouldn't you love to wear one of those T-shirts to one of their games? One of the Bulldogs ones?
Tell you what, though, at least they have got their recruitment right compared to St George's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Bread not bought.
The the Canberra Raiders are making no excuses in 2022, not injuries or losing players who are homesick or referee calls going against them or disrespectful opponents or rules that should be changed. Nope, no excuses.
They're sticking by it this year.
Yep. There's just no excuses for them this year.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad Ricky's putting them on the straight and narrow this year.
Exactly. The mighty Penrith Panthers are looking to go back-to-back and retain whatever remains of the trophy in 2022.
Yeah, they've got to find Proven's finger.
Yes.
And I think there was a chip off Arthur Summons' foot somewhere. They've got to find him.
Well, when you start treating the NRL trophy like it's an old car that got stolen and burnt out, it's a bit of a problem. Here's a different one. Celebrating their 100th year since they were last relevant, the North Sydney Bears launch a bid to enter the NRL again in 2020.
No way.
Yeah. I was thinking the last time they could claim that they were any good, Betty White was born, and now she's dead.
She was the last person to actually see them win a premiership.
She would have been a baby. She would have been, but still counts.
Yeah.
How about her comedic timing? I saw a headline about her saying she said that Ryan Reynolds needs to get over his obsession with her, and then she died straight away. I thought that was pretty.
Didn't even give him the chance.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to live with that now.
The Brisbane Broncos going to 2022 claiming that anything less than a finals berth will be a failure, preparing their fans for the worst well in advance.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if we had gone back about 6 or 7 years, that would have been a West Tigers one.
Yeah, true. They gave up though.
They rolled that one out every fucking year, and they just after all they went, you know what? I don't think our fan base is buying that shit anymore.
Yeah. At some point, it just becomes like, yeah, I've heard it before.
Let's just go with the centre of excellence. We'll see how long we can get, how much mileage we get out of that one.
And a new era.
Oh, the new era here.
I can't wait to see the new era start.
The new era.
The North Queensland Cowboys look to revolutionise their style of play in 2022 by playing their best player even less than they did last season.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was some cerebral shit, wasn't it?
Oh, that was real cerebral. I'm wondering if they were going to start playing him maybe at centre or on the wing or something like that, just a bit, spice things up a bit. Imagine the kick returns.
Well, remember when Matthew Elliott played Frank Pritchard, who's been sick recently? Apparently he's doing better, which is good.
He went into a coma with COVID. I hear he's come out of the coma and he is on the mend.
Yeah, which is good to hear. But Matthew Elliott played him at 5'8" once for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Good times. Yeah, I reckon Toddy Payton might be thinking to himself, I've seen that Brian guy doing some unbelievable kick returns. Imagine if he was the size of Jason Taumalolo. Actually, I've got a Jason Taumalolo. I might put him on the wing and just start every set from a Taumalolo kick return. And if we think about it, if Taumalolo plays on the wing just for kick returns, Tu'o won't touch him.
Exactly. Can you imagine if they said, look, we're playing him at fullback, all right? And weirdly, he was just an amazing fullback. His positioning was spot on, great under the high ball. Like, his run backs wouldn't be a problem because he's a monster. That would be weird, hey?
Imagine if you're a centre or a winger, okay, and you've made a break and you're running down the field and you're going, just got the fullback. Oh, fuck. Crunch.
Okay, so the next one. In 2022, the Melbourne Storm are out to prove the club does not have a culture problem. They can stop any time they want. That's a subtle one, that one, but still. It's a good
It grows on you.
Yeah. In 2022, the Sydney Roosters will be putting safety first, introducing social distancing at all home games from 1983 onwards.
And do you know how far they're going to have them socially distanced?
How far?
About 450 meters per person.
Nice.
Yeah, you don't want to catch this COVID. It's very, very easily transmissible.
It's almost as bad as the flu. Okay. After years of failure, the Parramatta Eels enter the 2022 season with contract upgrades and extensions for everyone responsible.
See, I thought Parramatta would have had one of insert name here is the next Peter Sterling.
Yeah, I could have done that. I was trying to think of
Jacob Arthur.
Jacob Arthur. I was trying to think of one to do with Mitch Moses, but
yeah,
and like it was along the lines of Mitch Moses is looking to take his game to the next level, to signs with Bulldogs for 2023, but I thought it's just too wordy and stuff, but I thought that one was all right. Okay,
very
next
good.
one. The Manly Seagulls look to regain their place as the team opposition fans are indifferent about in 2022.
Ooh,
Who gives a shit about Manly?
that's true.
They're fucking irrelevant.
See, I think what's going to happen with Manly this year is they're going to have people saying they're just a one-man team.
Yeah.
So for the next 2 or 3 years, it's all going to be we're going to prove that we're not a one-man team before spending the entire season proving that they are a one-man team.
They're a one-man team. In 2022, the Cronulla Sharks plans to head home, hit a snag as West Australia keeps its border restrictions in place.
That's good.
In 2022, the New Zealand Warriors vow to switch codes if they are ever forced to stay in Gosford again.
Can't blame them.
Yeah, fuck Gosford. Why would they do that to them?
2 years. I mean, they've done so much for the NRL.
Yeah,
we can't give them somewhere better to stay. Seriously,
just anywhere better. Anywhere's better than Gosford.
We send them to fucking Tamworth and Gosford. We should be celebrating these people for the work they've done and what the sacrifices they've made. Not send them to fucking Tamworth and Gosford. Come on.
Here's one you'll like. The 2022 season is an historic one for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, marking their 20th season in the competition. That upset some South fans, hey?
No way, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, see, the other one you could have done, if you wouldn't upset some fans, just say the Dragons are going to be pursuing their second ever premiership.
That was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, because they do get a bit bent out of shape over that one.
Damn. Maybe I can put that one out there during.
Or maybe just make Illawarra Steelers chasing their 20th title.
What you should do that.
I've been down that path before. I had people tell me I need to change things on the website. I'm like, no. Or tell you what, I'll change it. If you can do it yourself, you can change it.
Yeah.
Not changing shit.
The Red Cliff Dolphins entered the 2022 season with a list of star players they're looking to recruit. Ash Taylor is ready. It just feels like a move that's going to happen, eh?
It feels inevitable.
In 2022, the NRL has vowed there will be no more rule changes. They will, however, make multiple policing actions.
They do like a good policing action.
That's one that's a little bit of a history buffs will think that that's funnier than most other people.
Yes, they're quite fond of the policing actions.
Yeah.
They've had different phrases for it over the years, but it's always been something about policing instead of. We don't want to call it a rule change because every now and then you do get these periods where there's been too many rule changes in quick succession, and rule change becomes a dirty word. Mm-hmm. Or dirty phrase. So they go, let's find a workaround that says the same thing but doesn't sound the same. Policing action. We're going to have a crackdown. That's another good one.
Yeah. Or the way the rule is interpreted.
Yeah, that's another good one.
I was actually inspired by that when I saw there was a former referee liked one of the tweets, and I thought I'll give the referee one.
Yeah, why not?
In 2022, Channel 9 begins a new era in broadcasting the game. It's exactly like the old one, except they pay less money to the NRL.
Sounds a bit like the West Tigers' new era.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay. And I think that's all the NRL clubs. I didn't miss out anyone, did I?
Cronulla. Did you get the Knights?
No, I didn't do the Knights, hey? I forgot about the Knights. Like, it's good.
I saw some news about the Knights today, and that was that they're trying to hire Kalen Ponga's dad for something as a consultant or some shit. And I went, wow. If I was his dad, I'd be holding out for the biggest payday you can ever possibly find.
Yeah, well,
you know what? Redcliffe's put in a pretty good deal for me where I just turn up and just drink piss, and they're going to pay me $1 million a week to do that. You're going to have to top that. Otherwise, Kalen and me, mate, we're going. We're going to Redcliffe, mate.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, we'll give you $1 million a week, and all you got to do, and we'll even give you the free drinks.
That sounds very West Tigerish, though, where you just know that the NRL is going to get on the phone and say, hey, that's kind of not really allowed. That's kind of a salary cap get around.
What the West Tigers would do is that they'd get Kalen Ponga by an absolute fluke. They'd then they'd then sign his dad on more money than what they signed Kalen Ponga for, and then they'd make his dad play and leave Ponga on the bench or make him play reserves.
Well, it's like English clubs used to get the Australian players over there and then give their wives or their girlfriends or whoever a massive salary to do something really ridiculously small.
Laundry.
Hey?
Like laundry.
Yeah. Like, and they were
you can wash the socks, dear. Okay. Here's your $300,000.
Now, the other thing that you didn't see because you weren't allowed on Twitter was when I said I posted a tweet that had the Penrith Panthers father-son geniuses with the NRL trophy, or before it was taken apart systematically.
Before they destroyed it.
Yeah. Before
the brazen violence and disrespect for the game.
Exactly. They got some money for that at like one of those what are they called? You know, you take all your fucking copper pipes and shit like that.
Cash converters.
Not cash converters. What the fuck you do? Turn up your cash converters.
That's more Penrith than anything else. Is cash converters.
Anyway.
Hey mate, I just need like $20. Can you take this thing off my hands? It's a bit dinged up, but it should be all right.
When you go to a scrap metal place and you say, "Oh, I've got some copper here," and they say, "Why is it a giant roll that says Telstra on the side of it? Where'd you get this?" It's like, man, it fell off the back of a truck. It belongs. Trust me.
We can only give you $15 for it, mate. It's got this big lump of wood it's stuck on. We can't do anything with that.
Exactly. So I was talking about how Penrith are the world champions. And there were a bunch of people that didn't really like that. I didn't know why, didn't really understand it. And it ended up that some of these people were St Helens fans. And I found it weird because, like, their club, and let me clear something up too. I never called them yellow-bellied cowards without a spine. I would never do that, okay?
You never called St Helens that?
No, I would never call St Helens a bunch of yellow-bellied cowards with no spine, because
no
spine whatsoever. And because somebody said that I'd said that on Twitter, and I never said that. I just wanted to clear that up. But I found that St Helens fans got upset when I started mentioning all of the Super League clubs that were very happy to travel to Australia. In Wigan, they did it.
Yeah.
And then Leeds did it.
Yep.
And then Wigan did it again with Hull FC, and they weren't even in the World Club Challenge. They just come over, you know. And I was pointing that out, and St Helens fans were getting upset, and fans from other clubs were saying, yeah, you know, it's kind of weird that they won't do it. So I ran a poll on our Fergo Freak Pod Twitter account, and I said, what do you think about St Helens' refusal to take part in the World Club Challenge in 2022? We've had 412 votes so far, and 60% of people say it's totally embarrassing, while 40% say it's totally acceptable.
Interesting. I mean, still, it's a pretty clear majority that agree with your perspective there, rightfully so.
Well, it wasn't my perspective.
Do you think
it was on the poll for the podcast? I have nothing to do with the podcast Twitter account.
Do you think St Helens are scared?
Yes. Oh, sorry, you're going to continue going.
And do you think they're scared that they're going to lose their 5th straight game in Sydney or in Australia by coming over?
Yes. Well, the thing that was pointed, like, here's the thing, right? Penrith said, okay, we've got the venue, we've got the date, we're ready to rock and roll. Come on over. We'll host you. And St Helens said, well, we want heaps and heaps of money to do that. And it's like, what? You're fucking St Helens. No one's paying you. Just come over and play the game. And that's apparently their problem. They want money.
They want money.
They want money. And I pointed out, like, you're not Wigan. You're not Leeds. Like you can go to most places in Australia and say, how about Wigan? And people say, oh, yeah, great rugby league team. Yeah. You go to most places and say, how about St Helens? They'll say, what?
Did you mean St George?
St George? No. What? Is it a feeder team for St George? It's like, no. So there's a certain draw for teams. And I think that St Helens really need to understand that if the game has a venue, it has a date, and if they want to play the game, they've got the easiest part. You fly over, everything else has been sorted out. You know, Penrith will host them graciously, absolutely crush them on the field. But it's not about that, Andrew. It's about the occasion. And I think that it's weird that they are just they don't want to do it. And I think that it must come down to finances.
Finances? I don't know. I think if we're going to be honest about this,
yeah.
Most of the times whenever you've got a competition to find out who the best is in something,
yeah,
it's usually the team that's just become the champion, and you'd have them play against the former champion, which would be the Roosters. I mean, the Roosters beat both Wigan and St Helens in successive years. What claim does St Helens have to be better than that? I mean, St Helens haven't won against an NRL team since 2007. I think didn't they beat the Broncos in 2007?
I can't remember because I barely pay attention to the World Club Challenge most of the time.
Yeah, it was. I just haven't looked there. So they beat Brisbane 18-14 in 2007. I don't think they've ever won a game since.
Well, and the thing is that, like, I had just a couple of Roosters fans. I mean, there's not many of them. It's pretty rare you run into a Roosters fan. And they were saying, well, we're still a World Club champions. And it's like, what the fuck are you people talking about? They're not even the best team in Eastern Sydney.
No, but they've got more claim to be a world champion than St Helens do.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
St Helens haven't been a world champion for 14 going on 15 years very soon.
Yeah.
And as I said, like, the Roosters won the world championship the last 2 times it was played. So if we're going to go, as I was saying, if we go by that basis, then surely Penrith needs to play the Roosters to determine who the best in the world is.
And which we have done, and we beat them.
Exactly. So it's already done and dusted.
Yeah.
What St Helens want to play for third or something?
And
they can play to the Roosters and lose to them again if they like. That's all they know how to do.
Maybe we just send the Roosters over to play because it's all about money for the English game, and we all know that. Do we know
how much money St Helens want?
No, I don't even think it got to that point. I think that Penrith were like, we're ready to rock and roll. And St Helens said, we want you to pay us an exorbitant amount of money. And Penrith was just like, go away. Like, Penrith will make more money playing a trial game against Parramatta at Penrith Footy Stadium than they will against St Helens. Because Parramatta they're a better club, they're a bigger club, and they play, it's just a different level of competition. The Panthers going and stepping back a level or 2 or 3 to play St Helens. It doesn't really do anything for them outside of saying, look, we took part in this event that, English fans, it's more important to English fans than it's ever been to Australian fans. But I just thought it was a generous offer that the Panthers made, and St Helens threw it back in their face, and I thought it was weird. But I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that St Helens they're not a big club. They're not a Wigan or a Leeds. And they probably just don't have the financial capacity to leave St Helens.
Well, if they're not as big as Wigan or Leeds, doesn't mean that they're also not as big as, say, Huddersfield. Huddersfield covers a pretty big area, or Hull.
Well, Hull come out as well. Hull was out here in 2018?
Yeah, Huddersfield's been unlucky. Let's be honest, they've been unlucky. They've come close.
Yeah,
but they've been unlucky because last time they had like a genuine world class team, they didn't have a World Club Challenge in place.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you're from Huddersfield, if you're born in Huddersfield, I mean, straight away you're unlucky.
Yeah. And my father-in-law was born there. He's a good man.
He is a good man, but let's face it, he wasn't born in like I don't know, we're somewhere that's better than Huddersfield.
We just go. Sometimes there's an exception to the rule.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I'll get you out of that. I'll get you out of that hole. No, look. I think I was going to ask you, what do you think would be a genuinely legitimate and reasonable amount to give St Helens for them to come out here? Not for them to say yes.
Yeah.
But what do you think the value of this game is that they should accept?
Well, they don't have to put any money into stadium costs, into the stadium fees. And that's it.
How about if we just paid their flights?
No, they can fly over themselves.
I didn't say what airline they're going on.
Yeah, they can fly over themselves, get on Tiger Airways or whatever the fuck is left.
No, we'll get Rex.
Do the Rex go to...
No, the Rex has a small tank, so it's going to have to make a few stops. It could take a while.
Yeah, that's true. But no, they should.
You're looking after regional airlines.
Look, if they can't afford flights and accommodation, and it wouldn't even be for that long.
It's probably why they didn't want. It's probably why a lot of the English clubs didn't want a team in Canada.
True.
It costs too much to fly to Canada. I mean, imagine having to fly to Australia and back again.
Well, and when I line it up with what the New Zealand Warriors have been through for the last 2 years, and I just think St Helens should have just said, you know what, we don't want to be compared to the New Zealand Warriors and just look that bad. So we're going to go over there. We're going to fly to Australia. We're going to, you've got costs. You're a rugby league club. If you can't afford to play rugby league games, are you really a rugby league club?
That's a very good point. Very good point.
And I think Wigan would have been here, and I think Leeds would have been here.
Wigan would have played the game already.
Wigan would be in Australia right now, and they've probably played 2 games against anyone.
They'd have had 2 warm-up games.
Yeah.
They'll be getting ready to play the game, in a few days' time.
Yeah.
They'd have done a great amount of advertising of the games they would have played 2 games in regional New South Wales.
People would have been like, that's Wigan. That's Wigan's rugby league team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, it's not like St Helens where they would have said, who's this?
Yeah, that's what they would have said, who's this? They wouldn't have called them spineless or cowards because at least they were there.
Exactly. And no one should call them spineless or cowards. I think that's unfair. I'd never call them spineless or cowards.
Or gutless.
I
think that's unfair calling them gutless.
It really is. But I think that they should have got on a plane, and I think they should have come over, and they could have enjoyed an interesting time over in Australia. They could have experienced what the likes of Hull FC and the Leeds Rhinos and Wigan have experienced themselves. And, I think that the outlook on their club would have been different.
I've just been having to think about this. You know what I reckon they might be scared of?
What?
It's not actually the result.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the fear that if they come over here, Ricky Stewart will sign up half their team and they won't have a squad to play next year.
Well, look, there's that possibility, but then I was thinking to myself, right? You think of all of the, like, if I said to you, tell me a dozen former Wigan players that have come over and played in Australia, pretty easy to do.
Mm.
Not that many St Helens players.
Yeah, but I mean, Ricky will sign any of them.
True. He'll
He just
sign
says,
anyone with an accent.
where were you born? Was it in Australia? No. Okay, sign here.
He sits them down to negotiate and says, can I get anything for you to drink? And if they say, do you have any gravy? He's like, just whatever you want, you can have it. Just stay, please.
Dip the nib of that fountain pen in that gravy boat and sign away, son.
And it's worked out great for Ricky Stewart, you know.
It has.
It's worked out great for him. But
yeah, that's the concern.
I thought that was it's something that's caused quite a lot of a stir on Twitter, and I think it's something that St Helens should address. I really do. And if they can't afford to fly over, that's all right. I would never want to pressure a smaller club to push itself beyond its means. But, you know, I think it would have been cool for them to come over.
You know, they've obviously got some financial constraints.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I was happy to help out. I was thinking we could do a bit of a whip round. Maybe we could get the local CWA to sell some cakes and some slices. We could put on a few barbecues at Bunnings.
Yep.
Raise a few bob.
Start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, how much do they want? Because we might be able to get a few $100.
It can't be too much. I mean, it's St Helens.
But, you know, we can't undersell how good some of those cakes and slices are. The ladies at CWA make. They are really bloody good. Top line, mate.
Chocolate crackles.
Oh, sublime, mate, sublime.
Yeah, some Lamingtons.
That's where the best Lamingtons are.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So it's I don't know what more they want.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But they made that decision, and you know, it's going to be an unfortunate black mark on their club for the rest of its however long it's around. But yeah, I thought that was unfortunate for them and their fans and their history and the way they'll be perceived going forward as a hobby club.
There's nothing to be worried about forfeiting either. I mean, there's been a ton of those in England in the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if St Helens were one of those teams that had an opposition forfeit against them. I'm sure that happened at some point, but yeah, could have. And look, if they had given us enough of a warning that they were going to make this decision, we could have invited a Wigan or a Leeds or a Hull FC. I think Catalan would have come over. I think plenty of teams would have come over just for the exhibition event. But St Helens ran scared from it. I don't know why.
Yeah, they weren't gutless. They weren't cowards. They weren't spineless.
I don't want anybody calling them cowards.
No, that's
it's
definitely
unfair.
Yeah, they're just a small club. You know, you wouldn't expect.
They've got a budget, Andrew. They've got a budget, and you can't go above the budget. We've always talked about sustainability, and if a club can't afford to travel to a game, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's completely fine.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's been tough. COVID's been tough.
It's been tough on everyone.
It has.
It really has. It's almost as bad as the flu. It's terrible.
What else has been going on?
Well, I haven't seen too much other rugby league news.
Have we had some emails?
No, I don't think so. Although maybe we have one from going back a little bit.
It's been a month.
Let me, because remember there was one that went missing.
Yeah. Did they get back to you?
No.
Oh. Yeah. Generally didn't give a shit.
Well, I'm guessing they might have not heard that podcast, but hang on, because I get so much spam now at the moment. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Is this one? No, I don't need help with SEO.
The NRL has named think this might be part of David Middleton's annual. It is,
Mm-hmm.
yes. The team of the year.
Oh, who's in it?
Okay. So his team of the year, he's just got a starting 13, so it's not a 17-man side.
Yep.
It's Tom Trbojevic, Alex Johnson, Matt Burton, Joseph Manu, Brian O, Cody Walker, Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas, Brandon Smith, James Fisher-Harris, Isaiah Papali'i, Angus Crichton, and Cameron Murray.
I couldn't argue with any of them. Can you think of anyone that really would force their way into that team?
Not really, no.
No.
It's pretty solid, that.
Yeah.
And made up largely of the same few players. Payne Haas, I think he's the only player from outside the top 4. Oh, no. There's a Niels player there as well. Manly, South, Penrith, Roosters, Broncos, Storm, Eagles. There you go.
Yeah. That's a really good team, that one.
That's pretty solid, that.
Yeah.
So it's that's the team of the year. I suppose, you could probably say Jerome Luai might have been a bit hard done by, but it's hard to argue with Cody Walker being in there. He had an absolutely brilliant year.
Yeah, that's true. It's you know what I was thinking the other day is I went to the NRL website and there's no news on there anymore. And it's just disappeared as an information source. And it's that way because Foxtel and Fox Sports and Channel 9 didn't like to have to be competing with the NRL website as an information source.
Correct.
And I remember we did a podcast, it must have been about 2 years ago now, where we said how we don't really go to the NRL too much for the news stories. And like if something, say there's a scandal that breaks in the game, you can't go to the NRL for the news on that because the NRL has vested interest. But it was still a good information source on general rugby league news in terms of injuries and maybe what players are up to off the field and things like that. And it just got me thinking how it's sad that now you can't go to the NRL website for that sort of information because you can't go to Fox Sports and Channel 9's media for any of that information because they're garbage. They're absolute garbage.
Yeah, at the moment it's all it's either lists or tell us what you think type stuff.
Or give
us content.
Or one of our employees said something that was stupid, and so let's make a story out of that.
Yeah. Speaking of Fox Sports, I was just having a look over there, and they've got every NRL club's big Christmas wish for 2022.
Oh, really?
Should we go through it?
Yeah, go and have a look at it. Let's see what they come up with.
Penrith Panthers, to avoid a premiership hangover. Wow, they thought about that one.
Wow, they put a lot of thought in that.
South Sydney, to avoid a Wayne Bennett hangover. Bit of copy and paste going on there.
Yeah.
Manly, bubble wrap for Tom Trbojevic.
They literally come up with one sentence for each club.
Oh no, they expand on it a little bit, but it's basically just at the moment stating the bleeding fucking obvious.
Yeah.
The Roosters, a clean bill of health. What do you reckon Parramatta's might be?
Would it be? Let me think. Would it be something like to go one better or something like that?
Not far off, a premiership.
Yeah. They should just do that for every club, shouldn't they?
Well, yeah. The Knights.
The Knights. What would the Knights one be? The Knights.
What do you reckon they need?
To hold on to Ponga?
A halfback.
The halfback.
The Titans.
The Titans.
I'll give you a clue. You weren't far off earlier.
Yeah, I was thinking along those lines for David Fifita to actually play.
David Fifita to earn his keep.
Yeah, exactly.
The Sharks.
The Sharks. Would it be something about their home ground, going back to the home ground?
No, it's better than you, coach. Fitzgibbon to deliver.
Okay.
The Raiders. Whiten to come alive.
All right.
Apparently he died.
He died. Rest in peace, Jack Whiten.
The Dragons to stay off the front page.
Isn't that where you want to be at the end of the year, on the front page?
Pretty much. The Warriors, international borders to open.
Yeah, to go home.
The West Tigers, they don't know much here. Tim Sheens to be Tim Sheens. Who is he at the moment?
Is that what they wrote? Tim Sheens to beat Tim Sheens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure he's still... I don't think he stopped being Tim Sheens.
Yeah, he's still Tim Sheens.
Yeah. Although for a while there he did... he was Sarah Jessica Parker for 18 months. But
he got a bit carried away in the celebrations after the 2005 grand final. That's going to happen.
It's fair enough as well.
Probably did need to go on for 6 years, but you can understand.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos, a 5/8 to step up and partner Adam Reynolds.
Yeah. Things are underwhelming, eh?
I just saw the Cowboys one.
Jason Taumalolo?
No.
What?
Tell me what you think the chances are of this one happening. Like 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no chance and 10 being, yep, that's definitely going to happen.
Okay.
Chad Townsend to play like an $800,000 a year player.
Oh, okay. Can we go to minus numbers?
Oh, my God.
It's crazy that they went after him.
The dumb thing here, okay, is the one they've only provided one stat in here to talk about how poor he was playing last year.
What was it?
The 30-year-old had a career worst 3.8 missed tackles per game in 2021. If I had a halfback that missed 3.8 tackles per game, I wouldn't give a shit. I literally wouldn't give a shit. I didn't put a halfback in the side to make a shit ton of tackles.
Yeah.
And if a small guy's only missing 3.8 tackles per game, that's pretty damn good. That's the only bad stat they could come up with. How about look at the number of try assists he's had, or the line break assists he has, or just there's so many stats out there you can look at.
Kicks that led to tries, like things like that.
Kicks that led to repeat sets.
Yeah, he was dreadful. He was dreadful.
Yeah.
There's not been many players that have gone from. It's weird when you see a player that is a pretty handy player, and he's a pretty handy player. You know, he won that. He won the what's that horse race, that the premiership one that they did where the horses, the one.
Premiership one with the horses.
Yeah, where they won a premiership with all of that horse.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I think there's. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. So they won that, and so he's won a premiership.
I think he was a jockey, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. With some tremendous athletes, and then it just has fallen away so quickly. There's not too many players that you see that happen with so dramatically for no real reason either.
Yeah, he plateaued hard and it never back up. The Bulldogs, an accountant. It's almost like they're trying to be funny there.
Yeah. See, the problem that the Bulldogs going to have is that Phil Gould likes to play fantasy rugby league.
Look,
and
true.
He basically treats these lineups like that. So they're going to start offloading players to other clubs. I
know, but the thing is, they've got this opinion that because they've signed so many big name players that they must be at the cap limit, but they must be very close to the cap floor at the moment because they've not been paying much to players for the last few years. They've got their cap in order, but they've had no big name players there really. So they must have been, there's a cap floor and a cap ceiling.
Yeah, you have to spend a minimum under the salary cap.
That's right. And they must have been sitting close to that cap floor for at least the last 2 seasons.
Well, there used to be a thing that you could do with the salary cap, and I don't know if they closed it or not, where, so say last year, if the Bulldogs had, say, let's just say $200,000 still spent under the cap. They could give that to a player that they signed for this season. And so they would get $200,000 in 2021 under the Bulldogs cap, and then they would join the club the following season and get their normal salary. My guess is they probably closed that loophole.
Yeah, I've got a feeling they did close that.
Yeah, because it's a silly way around the cap. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. But
yeah. It also took negotiating power away from the clubs that already had the player, because they couldn't spend money from another season because they're already spending that money on that player.
Yeah.
So it's given unfair advantage to other teams.
Yeah. So, but like the thing that Phil Gould did when he was at Penrith, and the reason that the Panthers could get through it is because of their junior system. He would sign players to long-term deals, and the joke was like he'd sign a player to a four-year deal, and it'll be interesting to see where he's actually playing in 18 months, because that's what used to happen. And there was a whole bunch of players he did that with. But the Panthers were able to sort of get through that because their juniors would come through and they'd have some young player that was on almost minimum contract, and they would play really well off as soon as they come to first grade. The Bulldogs don't have that luxury.
No, that's exactly right. It's just going back over that list again. It's the most underwhelming piece of shit I've read for a while.
Yeah.
But they're just going, right, let's just state the bleeding obvious on everything and hope no one notices.
Yeah. Was that a staff writer? Like, we won't say who it was if it wasn't, but was that a staff writer's one?
It's got a staff writer's. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's staff writers.
Yeah. It feels like one that was outsourced to somebody that, just went with the most obvious shit.
Yeah. The amount of research that you would have had to do for an article like this is next to zero.
Yeah.
Which suggests that it has to be someone at Fox Sports who knows absolutely nothing about the fucking game, and states the bleeding obvious all the time and thinks that it's somehow some sort of breaking news. I'm thinking James Hooper.
I don't know. Seems like a lot of information in one of his articles.
Well, the other thing that makes me think it's not James Hooper is it's more than 180 words.
True, that's true. He's a glorified blogger.
He's not even glorified. He's just a shit blogger.
He's just a fucking blogger.
One of that.
We've got the NRL All-Star game that's coming up, and it's coming up on the 12th of February, which is starting to get close, It's going to be interesting to see if that game's played with crowds. I hope it is, because if it is, I'll go to it. It's at Parramatta Football Stadium, and it's the New Zealand Maori versus the Indigenous All-Stars.
Who are you booing in that game?
I'd have to boo the Maori team. I'd have to. There's too many of the players in the Indigenous side who I'd really like watching play footy, And
this is what I hate about this, is that you always want to have a team you go for and a team you don't want to go for when you're watching any sport.
Yeah.
But there's so much I love about the way both Islander, Maori, Aboriginal, all these Indigenous different cultures, they've all got their own very unique and very entertaining way of playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that they make it, two Indigenous sides playing against one another.
Mm-hmm.
You can't cheer for one team. You have to cheer for both because they're both brilliant in their own right.
Well, I remember they had that World Cup exhibition game. I think it was 2008.
Yeah,
and I remember
they opened with the Aborigines versus Maori, didn't they?
Yeah, and like I watched that game and just enjoyed the game. Like I like you said, it wasn't like I was against one team, but I guess most people want to have a team that they want to win and want to lose. Like there's not many people sit down and they're like, I don't care who wins and loses this game as long as it's a good game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but it is a strange situation. It's kind of like, I remember in the cricket where they had the Tri Series a number of years ago for the one-day cricket, and then they brought in the Australian A team, and it was like, well, who do we go for here? Australia's playing Australia A, and people generally wanted the Australian A team to win because, you know, it was all the younger players or fringe players and things like that, and they wanted to see
an underdog.
get one up. Yeah, it's an underdog, and it kind of didn't really work out. But
didn't they get to the final though against Australia?
I can't remember. Hey,
I think they got to one of the World Series finals.
Yeah, I was talking about the World Series cricket, and I made it. Somebody had posted. Remember that innings Michael Bevan played and won the game against the West Indies.
Oh yeah,
and like I just remember how massive that was in Australia when that happened. And what a difference it is now. Like, I haven't watched a single ball of the Ashes. And I used to watch all the cricket. I used to be all in on the cricket over summer. And I just don't care anymore. And I posted about it, and I was shocked at how many people agreed.
It's been hard to get into. I think I personally blame T20. That's only because I think T20 is absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
So I'll blame T20 for everything.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I also think when they started, when they moved, there's two things I blame it on. I think on a lower level, I think when they changed the Sheffield Shield so you could play for whoever, it wasn't just playing for your normal state. I think that was a massive problem because straight away that all of the interest went out of it, and the the whole thing about it was that it was a proper representative competition, and then it stopped being a representative competition completely. And so that meant that the quality of the competition suffered, because New South Wales used to have, you could have put New South Wales into the test arena. They would have been one of the top 5 test teams. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Queensland would have been really good, and Victoria would have been really good, and it just diluted everything. And I think that was a problem. And then when they started to say, okay, this test team and the one-day team, we're going to make them different, and then they started rotating players, and it was all of a sudden you've got 70 players that can claim to have been Australian international players. And I think that it diluted a lot of stuff. And when you chucked on top of that the T20, which is just mindless shit and of the poorest quality you can get, and then on top of that they made so many games where it's like none of it really matters anymore.
No, the T20 I think has been the worst thing that's ever happened to cricket. Yeah.
Like I know that it makes it ticks a lot of boxes for marketing types, but geez, it's trash.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
Fully agree. What were we talking about before? Rugby league.
Yeah, rugby league.
There is one bit in rugby league news we haven't touched on yet.
What is it?
NRL players have been banned from all indoor venues such as pubs, nightclubs, and even cinemas, and will need people visiting their house to pass a RAT test, which is a rapid antigen test, beforehand, as all 16 clubs were ordered to delay their return to pre-season training.
It's pretty full on, hey?
Yeah, these RAT tests, I've got to do them every day before I start work. So I do 5 every week.
Yep.
It's just a self-administered COVID test. You just don't put the nasal swab all the way down to the bottom of your lung. It just goes inside your nostril. And you don't have to do the one that goes all the way down and test your gag reflex. I don't know why they're testing that for with COVID, but you don't have to do the tongue one either. You just pop it inside your nostril, swirl it around on both sides, and you chuck it in this little thing of solution and swirl it around and put a few drops in the nasal pregnancy test kit they provide you with, and then you find out you're not pregnant, and then you can go to work.
I can tell you why you do that, the one where it goes right down the throat. Because you've got to work out who the keepers are.
This is true. I don't know if you want to, if doing that during a COVID test is the ideal timing for that process, but when else are you going to get this shit done?
I've had friends of mine, female friends of mine, that have just sent me the picture of that rapid antigen test, and I've thought they were all pregnant. Yeah, it's how about the big blow up about different companies selling those tests, and Harvey Norman was selling them and things like that. People are like, it's profiteering, and it's like this whole thing is profiteering. What are you upset about?
Yeah.
Really weird. It's like it's a corporation selling you tests. Like, does it matter where the fuck they are?
Yeah, it's all a bit nuts.
It is.
Everything is going to be made for profit at some stage.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're not going to be giving this shit away for free all the time.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, why aren't we getting all of this stuff for free?" And it's like, you realize that when the government buys it, it's not free.
Yeah.
It's taxpayers' money buying it as well. I don't know. I thought it was all silly, and I understand people need these tests now because workplaces like yours are saying that you need to pass these tests to come in, but it's there's a lot of madness out there at the moment, hey?
Yeah. There's still a hint of panic buying going on in the community.
Yeah, what are people buying at the moment?
Still toilet paper.
Yeah, still.
I had someone buy 160 rolls of toilet paper last Friday.
Jesus.
Yeah. So they're planning a big night on the can, that's for sure. Lots of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That was going up. Either side of New Year's.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just New Year's for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty much it at this stage. It's not over the top, but you can just sense that with all the case numbers going up all over the place. There's a few people out there getting a bit, on edge going, yeah, there's a lockdown coming. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
So they start panic buying a little bit.
It really does feel like there's a lockdown coming, hey? If you're in an NRL team right now,
mm-hmm.
would you be upset if a bunch of your players got this strain right now? Like they're getting towards coming back for proper preseason, and they're going to have to jump through all of these hoops. And if you get COVID during the season, you're going to have to sit out games. Would you rather them get this Omicron strain now?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I got a cramp.
What the fuck?
That's been. Oh boy. Okay. Man, that was horrible.
Yeah. You all right?
I can't sit down. Yeah, I'll just stand up for a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, fuck off! I sound old. Oh man, that is horrible.
I got called old by somebody on Twitter today whose hairline was retreating hard.
Oh, that's not giving up.
Really?
Oh man.
Where's the cramp?
Hamstring in the back of my thigh.
Are we talking grade 2, grade 3?
Oh, fuck hell, man.
Oh, no. Well, if anyone wants to join a podcast, we just had a space open.
Oh, come on. Oh, man, now I know how those footballers feel in the last 5 minutes of a game when they're up by 2.
I've never had a hamstring cramp.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So it actually does hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Is it settling down?
A little bit.
That's good.
Not much, though.
You got to stretch it out and drink Gatorade.
I don't have any Gatorade. Oh, look.
Have you got an onion?
My son's waking up.
Oh, shit. We should end the podcast like this with you in extreme pain.
Oh, I've got to go. Yeah, this is horrible.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye-bye.
See ya.